Ishmael Houston-Jones.
Yeah! Woo! Yeah!
Kind of overwhelming. Outfits, first of all, costumes. These two shirts sort of represent the yin and yang of the early days of PS122. This is, I believe it's Mark, I'm not sure. I think it's the first PS122 t-shirt. Yes. So it's like 30 years old and I still have it. And the font was designed by Tim Miller. And the shirt on the outside is one I inherited from John Byrne when he died in 1988. And so it sort of represents the yin and yang of the early days there, if you know what I mean. It's going to be short. I'm going to try to do it without my glasses. I did it in 16 font, but you never know. So when Lucy asked me to do this, I told her it was a really, 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 really bad idea. And it was not only because my friend Leslie said, no, you're not old enough, God bless her, but because 30 years ago in the fall of 1979, when I arrived in New York from Philly, and Performance Space 122 was newly founded, the best thing about PS 122 was that it was never about one solitary individual. So I had a few misgivings about me, why me? Rather, it was about the forming of a new kind of community, or a new kind of gathering of tribes, or a new kind of family that offered a new model for a home for performance. We were so fucking pretentiously hardcore in those days, we only call it performance. Never performance art, not experimental theater, not postmodern dance. And we never referred to the space as a theater. We were doing performance in our space. And we were doing that even when there was no heat on the weekends, the lights were clip-ons, and the sound system was a boombox. We were forming a new kind of performance family to make new kinds of work. And to quote Stephen Merritt of the Magnetic Fields, which I do much too often, some of it was just transcendent, some of it was just really dumb. But no matter how brilliant or awful the work was, I always had the sense that this performance family was somehow greater than ourselves as individual artists. And like real families, we, in this new performance family, loved one another. We also criticized one another, fought, fucked, and fucked over one another, even as we supported and nurtured one another. We shared ideas, borrowed concepts, and sometimes outright stole from one another. Passions, both personal and about the work, ran high, especially about the work. And that work could be both comforting and distressing. It could be sexy, messy, sometimes inspired, often confounding, but rarely boring. Time has moved on. East Village junkies have been replaced by NYU undergrads. Mostly not junkies, I hear. No more loose joints on the corner of 9th and First. The streets are safe now. The spaces, now plural, are now regularly referred to as theaters, with real sound, lights, and a grand plan for expansion. I don't show up as often as I used to, not so much because of some misguided nostalgia for the bad old days, but mostly because I'm different now. My interests and passions have changed. That early performance family is more scattered than before. But PS was never about us. It was about the idea of the work that we did, about finding a space to allow that work to happen. The idea of PS 122, even as it has morphed into a new institution with staffers younger than this t-shirt, has spawned new homes for new artists in Bushwick, in Williamsburg, in Bed-Stuy, in Long Island City, and further down on the Lower East Side. PS 122 serves as a kind of model now for those new spaces as they present new work that I don't understand, while still keeping a bit of the edge and the grit from the earlier days. So I talked myself into allowing myself to stand up here as a representative of all that earlier time, even as PS 122 moves on to what I hope will be a sexier, messier, more inspired, more confounding future for a new generation of performers. Thanks.